Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Thursday, July 14th, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in today's video, I'll be doing a quick little recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about my core plays for the FanDuel main slate. It's an 11-game main slate overall, and then going over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talking about my top GPP stacks for the FanDuel main slate as well. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, we had John Gray at $9,000, got to 58 points. He was a hit in the second overall pitcher on yesterday's slate. The only pitcher that was ahead of him yesterday was Shohei Ohtani, so a very good play there. At third base, we had Yohan Moncada at $2,300, got to 12.2 points, so he's a hit. He was the fourth overall third baseman yesterday, but obviously at $2,300, one of the better values overall. Then at shortstop, we went with Tim Anderson, $3,600, got to 3 points. I did give him a miss yesterday since he had that higher price tag and only got to 3 points. Then in the outfield, we had Giancarlo Stanton at $3,800, got to 18.7 points, so obviously he hit a home run, and he was the fifth overall outfielder on yesterday's slate. And then last but not least, we had Eloy Jimenez at $3,000, got 0 points. He was a miss, and unfortunately ended up getting hurt in this game, so that was just really unfortunate overall, and he wasn't doing too much before that, even though he did have good history versus Aaron Savali. So a little bit of hit or miss day yesterday, since we did have the 3 pretty good hits and then the 2 misses to go alongside it. But if you had some other decent plays alongside the guys that did end up panning out yesterday, you still had a pretty decent chance of cashing. My personal main line just missed out on cashing at the last minute. So once again, it was definitely in play. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to the core picks for today. I'm going to start off by saying there's not like the biggest amount of pitcher versus hitter history today. So some of these picks are going to be more based on matchups, going to be a little bit more based on kind of how I'm feeling towards the hitters or pitchers personally today. So we're going to start off at pitcher with Nestor Cortez, $9,900, and he's averaging exactly 33.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Obviously had a very, very hot start to the year. Kind of been hit or miss since then. He's been known to give up some home runs in the more recent starts. Goes against Cincinnati today. Should be a pretty good matchup for him overall, so I do like the upside there once again. If you want to pay up a little bit more, you can definitely do that. If you want to pay down, that's also something that's viable as well. Carlos Carrasco, if you want to save like $1,000, could definitely be in play as well. Then we move down to third base with Matt Chapman at $2,700. He is going against Jackson Kowar for the Kansas City Royals today. It is Brad Keller's turn in the rotation, but he is not vaccinated, so he was not able to travel with the team to Toronto. Kowar's mainly pitched out of the bullpen so far in his career. He's not pitched well, even though he's only had maybe like 6 appearances in the major leagues. So I definitely like the upside of this Toronto Blue Jays team overall. Matt Chapman is one of the few hitters that have actually seen him before, and he's 1 for 2 versus him in his career. Then at shortstop, we have Trey Turner at $3,900, averaging just over 12 fantasy points per game on the season. Guy that's been hitting the ball pretty well. Goes against Dakota Hudson today. He doesn't have the best history versus him, but it is very, very limited in an 0 for 3 sample. But I do like the upside that Trey Turner could present on today, as well as some of these other Dodgers players. Then we're going to move back to another Blue Jay, and Teoscar Hernandez, $3,200. Actually was the top overall hitter on yesterday's slate. Starting to hit the ball pretty well once again. He's kind of a streaky hitter, so once he gets going, he really gets going. But there is some upside there. There's also some downside because his bad days are pretty bad. But $3,200 kind of makes up for it a little bit with the price tag. Once again, he's going against Jackson Kowar. Not a lot of major league success at this point in time, if you call any success. So definitely do have interest in him, even though he does have no history versus him at this point in time. Then last but not least, we're going with another Dodger and Cody Bellinger. $2,600, averaging about 9 fantasy points per game on the season. And he has faced Dakota Hudson 3 times as well, and he has 2 hits versus him. So I do like the former history versus him. Obviously, Cody Bellinger's another hitter that has that high upside, but the downside is very low. But $2,600 is just too cheap for him at this point in time. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players, you have $12,700 remaining, just under $3,200 per player, so you can kind of mix and match whether you want to pay up for a star player and pay down for some other value plays, or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach. Definitely a lot of different ways that you could do it on today's slate overall. Once again, I mentioned you could pay up a little bit for a pitcher, you could pay down to like a Carlos Carrasco, even like a Tyler Anderson, someone like that. Or if you want to pay up or down in some of these other positions, it's a pretty wide open slate today. As I mentioned before, there's not quite as much history as I would like on most given slates. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talk about my top GPP stacks for today. So the stacks that I do have for today, I do have the New York Yankees going against Luis Castillo. Not a lot of history there. And honestly, it's not like super over the top history or anything like that, but Castillo's been pitching well. Yankees lineup is very potent, so I don't really have a reason not to go to it today. It's still probably going to be a pretty popular stack overall. Then we have the Atlanta Braves going against Anibal Sanchez, who's making his return from the 60-day IL, was previously dealing with a neck injury. I do not expect him to pitch deep into this game. Nationals bullpen's not the strongest by any means, so should be a pretty interesting game, should be a pretty favorable game for these Atlanta Braves hitters. Some of these hitters do have decent history versus Anibal Sanchez as well. Then we have the Blue Jays going against Jackson Kowar, who I already talked quite a bit about before, but obviously he's starting in place of Brad Keller, who did not travel with the team due to him not being vaccinated and obviously going to Canada, where you need to be to obviously play baseball there. And then, like I mentioned, Kowar's not pitched well at the major league level. He's still a pretty good prospect, but so far this season at the major league level, it just has not been there. So definitely like the upside of the Blue Jays today. And then last but not least, we had the Dodgers going against Dakota Hudson. Not a lot of history here, kind of like all these other ones it seems like today, but definitely have the upside with the Dodgers lineup overall. So really the theme today is attacking some of these stronger lineups, going against the not as strong pitchers overall today. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, July 14th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on today's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or whether it was a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you have to say. But with that being said, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS, mainly MLB at this point in time, since that's the main sport going on right now. But once we get back around to NFL and NBA regular seasons, I'll be covering those two sports as well. And then with that being said, if you are new or current subscribers yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily MLB DFS videos just like this. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.